What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Husky Mind. Everyone has an image of Harvard, prestige, genius students, and crazy workload. But what's the real story? So today, I'm asking Harvard students what it's actually like to study here. Let's get into it. Hi, can you introduce a little bit about yourself?
I'm Alyssa. I'm originally from Texas. I'm a sophomore studying integrative biology and history of science.
Hi, my name's Jack. I'm a student here at Harvard University. I'm actually from Australia originally. I moved over here a couple of years ago, and I'm currently studying a Masters in Mechanical Engineering here at Harvard.
So I'm Chase. I'm a first year here. I'm originally from California, and I'm hoping to concentrate in either applied math or econ.
My name is Diego Sarmiento. I'm a first year student at Harvard Law School. I'm from California. And yeah, it's my first year here, really enjoying it.
What surprised you the most after coming here?
Ooh, what surprised me the most?
Yeah.
I think the culture, because I'm from California, the other side of the country. The way people go about interacting with each other, even little things like how holidays are celebrated, or how early kind of businesses close. Like, kind of the culture has been something that surprised me, but I adjusted to it, and I think there's beautiful people here, really nice people. So I'd say that's the biggest thing that surprised me.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So originally, if you see films like if you've ever seen Legally Blonde, like the general stereotype here is that people are kind of uptight or in their own communities. One of the things that surprised me is that how open people are here, and how great of a community it is.
Yeah, I think in terms of the people and kind of the academic stance of Harvard, everyone's very friendly and very, very willing to support their classmates. And I think that's kind of surprising, just knowing how Harvard is viewed academically. But yeah, it's not as tense of an environment as I expected it to be, which is great. And all of my friends are kind of in the STEM and science realm, and we all really kind of help each other and lift each other, and we want each other to succeed.
What surprised me the most, honestly, was just the weather, really. Like, it's obviously very different to Australian weather. It's always very hot in Australia, and over here, obviously, you've got the cold winters like we're in now. But apart from that, not much else. Everyone's very friendly, kind, welcoming. The studies are, it's a lot of study, but it's manageable. That's pretty much it, really.
So when you first arrived here, did Harvard feel more normal or more intense to you?
It felt normal. Honestly, like, I think as well, like, I've been to America before, just on a holiday and stuff. So, I know this sort of country, and, the people here are quite nice and welcoming, and obviously the same language being English. So, it was really easy to settle in, and it's great.
Oh, it felt way more normal. I mean, everyone comes from various backgrounds, which I think really diversifies the experience. And that's great. So it was really easy to make friends and everything, because everyone's coming to make friends. I think I come from a very big state to where people go to college with people we knew from high school. And so coming, not knowing anyone, was a great experience, because it really pushes you to branch out.
I'm gonna say it felt pretty normal. The course load isn't too horrible to deal with, but going from 6 classes to 4 is a bit of an adjustment. That's about it.
I think more, you said normal?
Yeah.
I would say it actually felt more normal when I arrived. I think before, I got here, I was expecting it to be, really the, like a great school with like the smartest professors in the world, really, high achieving people. And there are those people. But I think when I got here and I got to meet the professors and my classmates, I realized that they're just kind of normal people here. They're, people, from other communities are just as smart, just as hardworking. But here, they've just had the opportunities and, some circumstances that got them here. So, realizing that the people here are just, just normal people like anybody else. That's something that I realized when I got here.
Oh, that's perfect. So speaking of the expectation, so what's one stereotype that turned out to be wrong to you?
Ooh, stereotype that turned out to be wrong. I would say the stereotype that's wrong is that there's like one type of person to come to Harvard, I think. I think it's actually a very diverse school, especially including the undergrad and the other grad schools. There's a broad variety of people that come here. It's not just people from a certain, class or area or, geographical location. It's pretty diverse school. So I would say that's that's a stereotype that doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Well, I think the main one is everyone thinks that if you go to Harvard, you've got to be like rich and have a lot of money. But look, that's not that true.
Yeah.
Honestly, like obviously, yeah, we're going to have a big student debt at the end of it, but you know, a lot of us here aren't rich. Like obviously, some people do have rich parents and whatever, but a lot of people here are just your normal people that have just studied hard and worked their way up.
I think there's a kind of a stereotype here that people are super, I guess, socially secluded or not super outgoing, but you can definitely find a great place here with a lot of really good outgoing people.
Oh gosh, that like everyone here comes from wealth.
Yeah.
That's 100% not true. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
there's going to be those pockets of generations, but yeah, it's definitely not true in the retrospect of everyone.
So where do you think that stereotype comes from?
I mean, probably just being an old university.
Yeah.
I would say, but Harvard really pushes to have a diverse, academic class, and I think they do a really good job.
I think a lot of it comes from films that feature Harvard, but I think also part of it is just that the idea that to get into a high-level university, you can't really have much of a social life.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that's true.
I think it probably comes from like Harvard's like historical, expectations and circumstances. I think historically it has been a space that has been, more homogenous and for one certain group. But I think probably in like the last 15, 25 years, that's probably shifted into what it is today. So I think it's based off like historical reality, but it's changing over time for the better, I think.
Well, I think, being one of the most prestigious universities in the world, people obviously see, this big campus here, and it's well known from movies and stuff like that as a really, high level university. So I think just all of that, the prestige around it.
Yeah.
People obviously think, everyone here is loaded with money, but it's not the case.
What's something that people don't see from social media about studying here?
I think the hours you've got to put into the study. There's a lot of hours spent in libraries, in your dorm studying, and just putting in the hard hours that, a lot of people don't see. A lot of people our age are, out sort of partying and stuff like that, which, someone here might not have the time to do that as much as they do. So, you've got to put in a lot of hard work and hours of studying to be here.
I think a big part of it is that people don't really represent how important and kind of vital office hours here are as far as really understanding the course material.
I would say that I think people honestly don't see how like much people study here. Like people who come here, especially at the law school, do spend a lot of their free time working. So I think through something like social media, you don't always see that complete reality. So I would say like people work really hard here. And they don't see all the hours that go into it.
I feel like they don't see the good times. I think a lot of people who push for like Harvard influencing kind of shows like studying so much per day, and which like that can be true, especially when you have those exam weeks and those like pits of the month. But there are times where Harvard is really fun, and I think that should be shown more.
So what's one thing that you think Harvard is better at than what you expected?
Oh gosh. I said it before, kind of pushing for like a realm where everyone kind of is close and tight knit. We have I'm not a freshman, but for freshman year they push like a randomized roommate, which I think is really cool and something that a lot of colleges don't do nowadays. And that's one of the best decisions, I think. And that's how I met one of my best friends here, and we're still roommates to this day. So I really like that aspect.
I think forming the community, that's kind of a big part of what I'm talking about, obviously. But they really do a great job of creating a super cohesive first year here, and then that transfers through, I'm assuming, every other year.
I think just being welcoming, like it's, it's obviously nerve-wracking coming here because you think, oh my God, it's going to be so tough, like, and everyone's going to be sort of like snobby and like arrogant. But that's not the case. Like it's so welcoming here, and that's been really good for me as well as other people.
I would say in terms of like the support systems they give for their students, I was expecting it to be, pretty cutthroat, maybe very competitive, which there is that aspect there. But the school really wants everybody to succeed, and they really make it difficult for students not to succeed. There's a lot of safety nets for you. Any, whether it's physical, mental health resources or, career services, they really make sure that you come out here better than you came here. So they really want to make sure like their reputation is intact. So they really make sure students come out of here, you know, successful
That's
young
perfect.
people.
Yeah. On the other side, what is one thing that is worse at than you expected?
One thing that is worse at. Ooh, how controversial can I get? No, let me see. I would say, and this isn't, you know, something to, you know, talk down to Harvard or anything. This is just maybe some room for improvement.
Yeah.
I think the school could do a better job at encouraging more diverse career options after graduation. At the law school and at the undergrad, a lot of the students are encouraged to go into finance or corporate law or big law, to work for just a handful of companies in the country. And I think it'd be really, you know, a good opportunity if the school encouraged more diverse career options, like going into public interest law or going into maybe non-traditional ways of improving the world rather than just a few handful of companies.
I think that if you're not the person who's going to put in a lot of effort and you're not willing to dedicate yourself as much as you should, they're not necessarily going to be there to push you into doing it. You have to really take control of your time. For sure.
I'm honestly not sure. I mean, we're going through something right now with like policies, but I don't really know how that's going to play out. So I'm not sure I could answer the question fully.
Honestly, nothing. There's nothing really that's been a problem here or anything that I think's, you know, bad or needs improvement. I think it's great. It's a great environment, you know, great facilities here. So everything's great in my opinion.
Perfect. So the last question. So do you feel pressure to live up to the Harvard student idea?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you know, especially coming from like somewhere, you know, overseas. Like, you know, it is a bit daunting at first. Like you think, oh, these people are going to be a lot smarter than me, more advanced than me. But you've just got to, I guess, trust yourself and have confidence in yourself. You know, you're obviously here for a reason, and you've worked your way here. So, yeah, you've just sort of got to back yourself. I think that's the biggest thing.
I think there definitely is that pressure, but I'm fighting it day by day because, you know, the work that I want to do isn't kind of the normal traditional path that, you know, most Harvard students do. So I do feel that, but I think if you have a strong sense of identity and strong sense of purpose, sense of community, then that pressure won't get to you and you can stick to your path.
Yes, but I wouldn't say it's pressure from the university. I think it's just pressure from myself. There's so many courses within so many departments that you can take, and I feel like I'm never going to graduate feeling like ultra fulfilled. I mean, if I wanted to feel fulfilled, I'd probably be concentrating in like 5 different things, and that's literally just not possible. So I think I put the pressure on myself more so.
I'd say definitely a little bit for sure. Especially as an athlete.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.